Dạ vâng, kính thưa quý vị, chúng tôi vừa lấy được cái án lệnh của tòa và theo như cái án lệnh mà bà chánh án đã đọc cho biết thì tòa họ go over, họ nói tới từng cái chi tiết, những cái thuyết trình, những cái việc tường trình của mỗi một nhân chứng cũng như của chúng tôi hoặc là của ông Ngô Kỷ. Và tòa xác nhận lại là dựa trên tất cả những cái án tiền lệ mà phía bên ông Ngô Kỷ nộp cho luật sư của Ngô Kỷ nộp cho họ, như những cái án tiền lệ thời mà ông Tony Lâm và ông Ngô Kỷ, thì tòa họ cho biết là họ ủng hộ cái việc mà cái First Amendment, tức là cái tu chính án số 1, nhưng mà các quyền tự do tu chính án số 1 họ nói rõ là không cho phép ông Ngô Kỷ được tấn công hoặc là đi dùng những cái những cái microphone, những cái video camera hoặc là ngay cả những cái cell phone record mà để tới quá gần những cái người mà họ không muốn bị phỏng vấn. Tòa xác nhận lại những cái việc làm đó là những cái sự harassment, là những cái sự khủng bố tinh thần theo như cái luật của tiểu bang. Và vì lý do đó họ đưa ra một cái án lệnh trong vòng 3 năm là cấm ông Ngô Kỷ không được gần chúng tôi. Nhưng mà tòa cũng rất là nhân nhượng, họ cho biết là cá nhân chúng tôi cũng như là ông Ngô Kỷ đều có những cái nguyện vọng để mà tham dự những cái sinh hoạt cộng đồng. Do đó họ cho phép là ông Ngô Kỷ được đến gần hoặc là liên lạc chúng tôi với những cái dụng ý peaceful, tức là khi mà có những cái lời lẽ hoặc là những cái ý tưởng không có conflict, không có gây gỗ với nhau. Vâng, thì đây cũng là một cái thái độ hòa hoãn, một cái tinh thần thượng võ. Chúng tôi rất lấy làm hoan hỉ vì thật sự ông Ngô Kỷ cũng là một người đồng hương và chúng tôi cũng không có muốn gây cái sự khó khăn. Khi mà chúng tôi đưa cái việc này ra tòa, chúng tôi cũng chỉ muốn bảo vệ cái sự an toàn của cá nhân chúng tôi, của vợ tôi cũng như là của gia đình tôi. Đây là một cái sự việc mà có lẽ tất cả mọi người, không phải người Việt Nam chúng ta không, mà tất cả những người nào sinh sống ở Mỹ cũng đều ao ước mình có được cái sự tự do đó, và cũng đều ao ước là mình không có bị khủng bố tinh thần cũng như là bất cứ khủng bố một cái gì. Vâng, và cái lý do mà tòa cho biết họ đã xem lại tất cả những cái phúc trình của những cái người nhân chứng, thì tòa xác nhận lại là những cái việc làm của ông Ngô Kỷ là đúng nghĩa của cái sự khủng bố tinh thần và những cái việc đó cần phải được chấm dứt. Thưa quý vị, đây là một hoan hỉ vì có cái án lệnh của tòa nói rõ về vấn đề như vậy, để từ nay nếu mà những người nào mà có cái tính cách khủng bố, dùng những cái ngôn ngữ mà không có trong từ điển để mà khủng bố những cái người có cái ý kiến trái ngược với mình, thì nên chấm dứt lại cái đó, vì cái điều đó không chấp nhận được và cái điều đó bị coi là khủng bố tinh thần theo như luật. Tòa hôm nay đã xác nhận như vậy. Vâng, thưa quý vị, chúng tôi hoan hỉ và có một cái bản án như vậy. Hy vọng đây là một cái bước đầu của cộng đồng tị nạn cộng sản chúng ta, và những người trong cộng đồng sẽ học về cái bản án này và đừng có làm những cái điều tương tự như vậy để chúng ta không phải đưa nhau ra tòa. Xin cảm ơn quý vị. Nếu mà quý vị muốn theo dõi một cách chi tiết, xin kính mời quý vị theo dõi các chương trình audio video của nhóm văn hóa nhân bản Lạc Việt đã thu lại, và quý vị nếu quý vị có giờ, xin kính mời quý vị theo dõi chương trình đó để biết thêm những cái chi tiết về cái cuộc họp, về cái cuộc gọi là cái phiên tòa ngày hôm nay. Xin cảm ơn quý vị.
Clancy King's appearing again for Mr. No.
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Kim. Good morning, Mr. No. And maybe please have your credentials.
Good morning, Your Honor. Frank John Day, Vietnamese language state certified or interpreter, certification number 301677. My bachelor's at Icon at Austin Town.
Thank you. Would you like to have a seat?
Yes.
Thank you. Would you like to have a seat? Yes. To establish harassment, the court is looking for clear and convincing evidence of unlawful violence, a credible threat of violence, or a knowing and willful course of conduct directed at a specific person that seriously alarms, annoys, or harasses that person and serves no legitimate purpose. I'm going to take a moment to review the evidence that was presented during yesterday's hearing.
Your Honor, point of order. The original attorney on this matter was subpoena when requested in the court issue a statement decision before
I'm not sure if that request is timely, and number one. And number two, I don't have any attorney of record for Mr. Mel.
Okay, that was what she requested.
I've never seen her, and she's not on any of my paperwork. Brittany, do you have?
I've been checking all the time, but I've not had an attorney on top of it.
She's anticipating a possible appeal on the matter.
Well, that may be, but she hasn't appeared at this hearing. All right. The court is going to issue its opinion verbally now. I'll take a recess when I'm finished to determine whether or not the request for statement of decision was timely, but I believe it's untimely.
Your Honor, may I mention that one of our prime witness is Camila Albury, who couldn't make it yesterday. She is here this morning, so she in case the court needs you when we hear from her, she is here today.
The court concluded the evidence portion of the hearing yesterday. The court is prepared to rule. So I would prefer, or not prefer, I would ask that the parties not interrupt the meeting unless there's another procedural matter that needs to be decided.
Thank you.
The petitioner testified that he was recorded exiting the city council chamber after he testified during a city council meeting on September 11, 2019. There was a cell phone attached to a selfie stick about 24 inches in length, and that was being recorded through some sort of recording, according to the petitioner, by the respondent. That equipment was pushed towards the petitioner as he exited. He testified if he didn't run fast enough, it would have hit him. He testified the equipment came within 1/2 inch of his body, but it didn't touch him because he did not let it happen. He testified that the respondent was screaming and yelling the words he remembered were "stupid guy." And he also testified there were people outside once he exited the building, and he heard people yelling, "Leave him alone," which petitioner believed was referring to him. He said there were 5 to 6 people around, and 3 of them escorted him to his car while the others stayed back. Petitioner stated he mentioned this to a police officer at the curb outside while on his way to the car, and the officer said to stay away from respondent. Petitioner admitted on cross-examination he did not request an emergency protective order at that time from the police officer. Police did not escort petitioner to his car because the other people had already separated from him. When he was chased outside by the respondent, petitioner said he wasn't sure what would happen. He said he had been belittled, humiliated, and irritated by respondent's behavior in the past, but it had never risen to the level of a physical threat or fear for his life until that night. Petitioner testified the respondent has demonstrated a pattern of anger over time that only recently rose to conduct that concerned and frightened petitioner. Petitioner believes respondent is becoming angrier and more critical as time goes by. He believes the incident was triggered by his earlier testimony before the City Council about 9/11 terrorist sympathizers, and that respondent erupted in anger after hearing the petitioner's comments. Petitioner admits he was not injured physically, but contends he was mentally injured because he feared for his life during the encounter. The court finds the petitioner's testimony to be credible. The respondent testified that petitioner opposed a City Council vote and was being loud in the meeting. When petitioner finished talking to the City Council, he walked away, and the respondent followed the petitioner out the door and outside the building. Respondent denies chasing the petitioner and denies that there was a group of people around. He denies attempting to strike the petitioner. He admits that he recorded the petitioner leaving the City Council chamber and out the side door. He states that he was live streaming a broadcast on Facebook and provided the court with Respondents 1, which was a video clip consisting of a 1 minute and 30-second excerpt of a 3-hour live streaming broadcast that he had previously posted on Facebook. He states that he clipped the 1 minute and 30 seconds out because that showed the incident in question. The respondent denies editing the video in any way, other than just clipping, the way I just described it. He admits he did not record the petitioner walking to his car, because before that occurred, he panned the video around to begin recording the TV screen that was outside, that was continuing to broadcast the City Council meeting going on inside. After videotaping the petitioner as shown on Respondents 1, he did not see what else the petitioner did. The respondent testified he never heard people yell, "Leave him alone." But notably, the petitioner does not deny yelling the word communist, which I'll get to a little bit later. He does not deny chasing the petitioner. The respondent admits in his declaration filed with the court, he was talking into his camera and identifying to his viewers that petitioner is, quote, the one carrying the potty bowls for Tai Do, a Westminster City Councilman, and Phat Pui, the Garden Grove Councilman. The meaning of carrying the potty bowls for someone, according to respondent, is the equivalent of kissing up to someone. Respondent does not deny chasing petitioner with a cell phone and a selfie stick, or that the equipment came within 1/2 inch of the petitioner. The court finds the testimony of the respondent credible.
Thank you. Thank you.
The court has reviewed Respondents 1, which is the video, multiple times. Notably, the video does not show the interaction between the petitioner and respondent, because the respondent was the one doing the videotaping. It shows the respondent following petitioner out of the City Council chamber, down the hallway, and out the exterior door leading towards the parking lot. It appears that petitioner is either walking very fast or running slowly away from the respondent. Petitioner clearly tries to shut the exterior door to avoid respondent from following him, but the door will not close quickly enough. So petitioner continues to flee outside. The court notes there is a police car visible in the video, parked at the curb. There are at least 2 other people visible in the video at different times. One of which is the other reporter who was recording respondents to the shorter video. On the video, loud yelling can be heard in Vietnamese, but no one provided the court with a translation into English. It does seem to be, however, that the respondent is somehow narrating to his live stream audience in Vietnamese. That may be some of the yelling that can be heard. The video only shows petitioner walking down the sidewalk exit towards the curb where the parking lot begins. It does not show petitioner walking to his car after passing a police officer and stepping off the curb. It does not show anything that was occurring behind or around respondent as petitioner is exiting. Only when respondent pans around to start videotaping the outdoor TV. It does not show petitioner being escorted to his car by 3 other individuals, because by that time the video had already panned away from petitioner. Respondents 2 was the shorter video. It has limited usefulness because it does not show any interaction between petitioner and respondent or what petitioner did in the parking lot. Hung Nguyen testified, and the court finds his testimony corroborates the petitioner's testimony. Notably, he said that he is an enemy of both the petitioner and the respondent. But he testified he saw petitioner leave the city council chamber, and the respondent followed him out yelling, "You are a communist," and recording petitioner. Mr. Nguyen said he saw 2 to 3 people escort petitioner out, and the police signal for people to calm down. Respondent kept yelling and had his stick with the camera on it. Respondent also called Mr. Nguyen a communist, but Mr. Nguyen did not see anything after petitioner left the building because he stayed behind. The court finds Mr. Nguyen's testimony credible. Lan Nguyen also testified. Is Lan Nguyen here?
Yes.
Okay. And the court finds her testimony credible. The court finds her testimony corroborates the petitioner's testimony to the extent that she testified. She said she stayed to the end of the city council meeting, saw a respondent sitting at the end of the room, and heard him yell loudly to those who opposed the council member, "Communist," and something about a bedpan. Outside, she saw a group, but did not clearly see the interactions between the petitioner and respondent outside. The court finds Ms. Nguyen's testimony credible. Mary Pham, the petitioner's wife, also testified. The court finds her testimony to corroborate the petitioner's story. She was not present on the night in question, but she testified about her fear of responding because of the way he talks. She said the respondent does not hesitate to say dirty words or post angry and vulgar language on Facebook about his private parts. And he does not hesitate to say motherfucking anytime to anyone. She corroborated the petitioner's contention that he was scared after the encounter with respondent. She said she knew the petitioner was frightened when he arrived home from the city council meeting because he had a face she had not seen before. He was shaking and kept saying he had avoided death to come home to her. The court takes from this testimony the corroboration of petitioner's emotional distress and finds Mary Pham to be credible. The court also heard from Lan Hongvu and finds that his testimony, to the extent it was offered, just corroborates petitioner's testimony. Mr. Vu is a reporter with Bolsa TV, and he was present at the September 11 City Council meeting. He did not see the respondent assault the petitioner, but he saw the respondent recording, and he had previously seen the respondent recording people at previous City Council meetings. He did not see respondent hitting anyone with his camera, but he did see respondent recording and get closer to the petitioner than what he, Mr. Hu, would do as a reporter. He testified he was a professional reporter and would not place a camera too close to a person like respondent does. For Mr. Hu, a comfortable distance is about 2 to 3 feet. The court finds Mr. Hu's testimony was credible. The court also heard from Kim Jong, and the court finds her testimony to be corroboration to the petitioner's testimony. Ms. Doan testified she was sitting outside watching the City Council meeting on the TV outside while speaking with her husband. Suddenly, she heard a lady shouting, "Leave him alone," and men shouting, "Stop, stop." She saw respondent talking and chasing petitioner surrounded by 7 to 8 people. Respondent was following petitioner with a very loud voice, yelling "communist" and "bastard," "this is the communist," and "asshole." She was positive it was respondent who was doing the screaming and pointing and putting something close to petitioner's face. She said she saw petitioner run to the police and speak to them. She said petitioner ran fast to the parking lot and that she and 2 others escorted him to his car in the parking lot close to Westminster Boulevard. The court finds Ms. Dunn's testimony to be credible. So before I go any further, I want to comment on the First Amendment rights of the parties. The case of Lamb versus No, 2001, 91 Calat 4th, 832, was decided by our local Court of Appeal, District, 4th District, Division 3. Although the court declines to take judicial notice of the case, as I stated yesterday, for purposes of determining respondents' rights vis-a-vis this case, the case of Lamb versus No is instructed as legal authority this court is bound to follow. The court in Lamb versus No notes some of the following. The First Amendment does not protect violence. It does, however, protect even rhetorical hyperbole or loose language, including language that someone is a communist sympathizer, and including foul language or rude, offensive, and vulgar language. There is a difference between charging a person with communism and charging him specifically with being a member of the Communist Party. Nevertheless, this court is mindful of the Court of Appeals statement as follows. The word communist has some real sting in the Vietnamese community in Orange County, California. That community, after all, consists of many people who have actually lived under a communist regime. Then again, such folks are in a better position to appreciate First Amendment freedoms than some of us who have not lived in a totalitarian country. Therefore, the court does not take lightly respondent's language in expressing his views, but the court cannot enjoin him from expressing those views. The court can enjoin harassing behavior, however, and the court intends to do so for reasons that follow. The respondent argues the court should apply the legal maxim de minimis non curat lex, which in Latin is a common law principle whereby judges will not sit in judgment of extremely minor transgressions of the law. The court disagrees. The totality of the evidence demonstrates minor transgressions. But nevertheless, the case essentially boils down to a few seconds of behavior that is largely undisputed when the evidence is viewed as a whole. So turning to the specifics of what constitutes harassment, the court finds there was no unlawful violence. There was no violence or attempt to commit violent injury, at least as defined in PC, the Penal Code, Section 240, which says that an assault is an unlawful attempt coupled with the present ability to commit a violent injury on the person of another. The court does not believe the incident, as testified to, rises to that level. However, the court finds there was a credible threat of violence that occurred at the September 11, 2019 City Council meeting. The respondent confronted the petitioner in a threatening manner by running after the petitioner as he exited the meeting. The evidence shows he was aggressive, angry, and used a raised voice to shout words like communist, and petitioner is the one carrying the potty bowls for other council members. He was yelling and perhaps agitated. While the respondent has a legitimate purpose in live streaming his comments during and following the city council meeting, there was no legitimate purpose to chasing down petitioner to the point of causing him to run in fear, or to holding a microphone within 1/2 inch of petitioner's body, or to shouting and yelling rude and offensive comments to petitioner while chasing him with the camera rolling. Whether a threat is conveyed by conduct or pure speech is irrelevant. The fact is a threat occurred in this case. The court also finds the September 11, 2019 incident is part of an escalating course of conduct by respondent. The court finds credible petitioner's observation. Respondent is becoming increasingly aggressive and angry as time goes on. Petitioner and respondent have been acquaintances for many years. They have attended city council and other public events together for many years. It appears at some point their views diverged. Petitioner believes respondent has a violent past, and whether or not that is true, he is fearful respondent will turn his anger and violence on petitioner. The most recent incident evidences petitioner's conclusion is reasonable. The pattern of conduct over time is concerning to the court. Though the court cannot and will not take away respondent's constitutional rights, speech which is for the purpose of harassment is not protected. Here, respondent crossed the line by aggressively pursuing petitioner as he tried to leave the city council meeting and aggressively yelling at petitioner as a form of harassment. While this was only one incident, the court is concerned because it caps the history of behavior between these individuals, which clearly demonstrates a pattern over a course of time. Without protection, respondent may continue his conduct directed towards petitioner. With regard to the emotional distress component, the court is required to find that a reasonable person would suffer emotional distress, and petitioner actually suffered substantial emotional distress before entering the restraining order. And the court makes both findings. Both petitioner and his wife, Mary Pham, testified to petitioner's emotional distress following the September 11th incident. Petitioner, for his part, believed he was running for his life. The court finds their testimony credible and believes he actually suffered substantial emotional distress. While a reasonable person may not have believed he was running for his life. The court finds a reasonable person could suffer substantial emotional distress if subjected to the pattern of respondent's behavior over time that escalated to an incident where respondent chased petitioner out of the chambers towards the parking lot in the way that's been described in the evidence before the court. Finally, the court finds there is a reasonable probability future harassment would occur absent a protective order. The testimony is uncontradicted. Petitioner and respondent are both interested in political news and events affecting the local community. Respondent is a self-described newsmaker and news giver to millions of viewers. As a videographer and narrator, he has an interest in pursuing persons of interest, hoping to get an interview or to view petitioner or others being interviewed by other reporters. Both petitioner and respondent regularly attend public meetings, including city council meetings. The evidence shows that interaction over the past several years has been limited to these types of events. It is not a friendship. These events are part of our everyday life and an important part of staying involved in the community. Both parties are entitled to participate in the democratic and political process as they desire, and the court believes both parties will continue to seek out opportunities to do so. In conclusion, the court finds by clear and convincing evidence, petitioner has established harassment within the meaning of Code of Civil Procedure, Section 527.6, and will enter a restraining order for a period of 3 years, which I will review in just a moment. The restraining order will protect petitioner and his wife, Mary Pham. Although there is no evidence of harassment directed towards Mary Pham, the statute does not require that. It requires only a showing of good cause to extend the restraining order to other named family or household members. The court finds good cause. Based upon Mary Pham's demeanor she displayed while testifying, which left no doubt in the court's mind that she is fearful of respondent. This will also allow Mary Pham to accompany her husband to any event she wishes to attend without fear of confrontation. Having concluded the way I concluded, the court is required to determine what sort of order would be appropriate. The court has determined that the most appropriate order will be personal conduct orders as well as stay-away orders, as follows. The respondent is not to do any of the following things to Mr. Pham or to Mrs. Pham: harass, intimidate, molest, attack, strike, stalk, threaten, assault, hit, abuse, destroy the personal property of, or disturb the peace of the person. You may not take any action to obtain the person's address or location. And the court is allowing peaceful contact only. So just to be clear, there is a box here that the court is not checking. The box that the court is not checking and not ordering is as follows: that you may not contact the person either directly or indirectly in any way, including but not limited to in person, by telephone, in writing, by public or private mail, by inter-office mail, by email, by text message, by fax, or by other electronic means. So in other words, the court is not prohibiting contact. The court is ordering only peaceful contact. As far as the stay-away order, the court is mindful that both petitioner and respondent will want to be in the same place at the same time. So the court is entering a stay-away order of 5 feet that will allow you to be in the same room. You must stay 5 feet away from Mr. Pham, Mrs. Pham, their home, their job or workplace, and their vehicle. The court believes that this order will balance the rights of the respective parties, will protect Mr. and Mrs. Pham, and will also allow Mr. No to continue in his activities and First Amendment rights. I will take a brief recess while my clerk makes a copy of the order that I've already signed. I will order you to please stay in the courtroom so that I can serve you both with a copy of this order. During the recess, I'll take a brief look at the statement decision issue.